Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Tess Brigham, I'm the therapist.
And I'm Brooke Brigham, I'm the attorney.
And we are back with the final, dear God, episode of Sister Wives, season 19. This is episode 29, One-on-One, part 4. And,
it's too much.
It's a lot. I want to... Brooke, I want to lay you down in a rose garden of trust.
Did he steal that from a Bon Jovi song? Lay me down in a bed of roses. Yeah.
Oh dear. I was like, is this a biblical quote? But yeah, he had some doozies of lines in this one. But as I was watching it, I'm sure you felt the same way, which was, why? You could have had 2 one-on-ones that were really good and really tight, moving along. You could have, absolutely. What we were beating a horse that's been dead for 50 years now.
Well,
they some of the stuff.
They talked for 10 minutes about the luggage rack. And the significance of the luggage rack. And God, Suki.
Shit. Well, this is what's interesting, because at one point, Suki did make a comment about how, about this Robyn and Cody's relationship. And Kody was trying to Robyn was trying to rewrite history, saying, much as everybody thinks that we weren't thinking this, we weren't plotting this, we weren't planning this. And Suki says at some point, well, maybe the audience saw something. Maybe the audience saw something that you all didn't see. And this is the part that's very weird and tricky about all of this is that, and we've talked about this before, about how more and more we're realizing you lied to us for years about so many different things. And now it's like, okay, you lied to us about a bunch of stuff. And I don't know how to explain it. It's like, you lied. And then now you're you're referencing, because obviously what the audience has said. And then so you're throwing it back on the audience. Like, well, we're the bad guys. I'm just kind of sick of being like that. Kody keeps dismissing everyone and everything. And it's like, dude, we caught you red-handed. Like, you did something that you had a moment in time where you could have made a different choice, or you could have interrupted this, or whatever it is. And just own the fact that you didn't. Just own it. If he just owned what happened, I think we would all be a bit more on his side.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but even Robyn, Janelle, and Christine are all independently corroborating all of this. And, they lied. They lied a lot. And that's kind of part of their culture, is lying.
Yeah.
And keeping secrets about what's really going on in polygamy.
Yeah.
So, and then at the end, Robyn and Cody are just gushing about their lightning bolts.
Oh, God.
And their special connection and their.
This was painful to have to watch.
Wait a minute, you just told us that. Oh, it's not true. We didn't do anything. There was nothing. We didn't treat each other differently or anyone else differently. It's like, well, but now you're admitting that you did. They can't even keep their own story straight.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem is they have to shove their love in everybody's face constantly. Now that they can, they've got to show, Cody's got to show that Robyn's so awesome. He loves her. He won. He has to show the world that he won, because he's with his beautiful, beautiful Diesel Jeans model wife, and he has won. But at the same time, he can't let the world know that he's been lying and really, really has loved this person the whole time, because that makes you look bad. It makes you look bad in the eyes of the church. It makes you look bad in the eyes of, the audience and everybody else, and your ex-wives.
Right.
And So yeah, that's the bind that they're in, is they want it, he wants to win everything. And it's like,
Mhm.
you can't, Cody. Why don't you enjoy what you have, which is, you seemed happy. If you're happy and you're in love, good for
Mhm.
you. Good. Good. But the rest of it is just, it's unreal. But
Yeah.
if I wasn't recapping the show, I hand to God, I would have just fast forwarded through that whole section. I did not want to have to listen to them in the lightning bolt moment
And
anymore.
it just seems
It's
so
so gross.
fake too. Like Robin is trying to she's not a good actress and she was trying to recreate her feeling of a and she's like, "Well, I'm standing there in church and then I saw you and then I felt a lightning bolt." Like that was literally how she told the story. And that turned Cody on so much.
Hmm.
He just, he points to the sky like I guess he's pointing to God, saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. God was my wingman." I mean, that
Yes,
whole thing is just ridiculous.
because you're the only person that's ever fallen in love. You're the only person that ever had a light bulb moment. I mean,
Ugh,
lightning bolt moment.
lightning bolt,
I mean,
right
I'm
up the
sorry.
hoo ha.
I've been watching TikToks of Gavin Newsom this last week.
Oh, I felt a lightning
Oh,
bolt.
I felt lots of things. I've been feeling things. So, I mean, yeah, the lightning bolt, it's not hard to
Yeah,
feel that.
it's not unique to you, Robin.
Or Cody. Oh
I'm
God.
just I feel like I'm just giddy from exhaustion with these people.
So I guess we're definitely taking a break, because we can't have Cody next week. We
No,
just can't. We can't. I
absolutely
gotta have a
not.
Cody
We
break. I
we
just
need
have
a
to.
palate cleanser.
Yeah.
We'll come back when we're ready, but okay, so we go through the luggage rack thing.
I didn't even write any of that down. I'm like, this was from
Well,
last time. They got into the luggage rack stuff
I
from
know
last
they
time.
had to do it again. I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure why. Maybe they forgot. Maybe this is bad editing. I don't know. And then they got into how appearances are super important, Cody. And I feel
Well,
like didn't we go through this already too
a
with
little
the
bit. I
camping?
My first notes are, and it's so frightening because I watched this yesterday. How far? So my first notes were really what I thought. I think I just wrote down the things that I found interesting, which is that Christine and David pipes up, and they
Mhm.
start talking about polygamy and how polygamy favors men. End of story.
Oh,
It's
no
all,
kidding.
yeah, I know, shocking. But it was like, but did you notice that David jumped right in there and
Yeah.
said, yeah, in polygamy, the men put themselves first. We've seen it time and again. And he says, my sister was in polygamy, it ruined her.
Mhm.
And he said that. He said, I dated other women and I was concerned. I was really, really
Yeah.
worried
He's
about Christine. And that's when he just felt like he met his unicorn. And
Yeah, he said that the husbands love the women fighting. And
mhm,
we said this last week
yeah,
that they do. If the women are focused on fighting with each other
yeah,
and whatever, then they're not focused on what Cody's not doing.
yes.
He wants to pit them against each other. He doesn't want them comparing notes or
Mhm.
talking to each other. So let's have them be frenemies, and so they're not finding out because they're not
Mhm.
talking. Because I mean, Janelle and Mary, I don't think talked for a decade or more, or so they
Yeah.
couldn't compare notes about finances or anything else that was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everyone's in the dark.
Yeah. It's an
Yeah.
interesting tactic because it's used in many, many cults and in many abusive
Yeah.
situations.
But I also noticed too that Mary she still has a loyalty to Cody. She is
Yes.
not shit talking him the way that Christine and Janelle are. She's kind of holding back and refuses to comment on certain things. She gives him the benefit of the doubt. Every once in a while, she'll kind of pipe up and say, "Well, that wasn't fair." But she will not say anything specifically negative about Cody.
No, no, because she doesn't agree that Cody put himself first. That and so it is interesting. I don't know if it's because now he's saying, oh, Mary's my favorite ex-wife, if she's feeling a little bit like, oh, this is a good, I haven't been
Yeah,
in a
I'm
favored
special.
special in any way, shape, or form for two
Yeah,
decades.
this
So
is a new
maybe,
feeling.
yeah, maybe I should, maybe this is good. But yeah, then they get into the whole beauty thing and the scenes of Christine talking about them camping. And Cody admits, like, I do appreciate beauty, but, he said something then he said something about, like, Robyn doesn't talk about, makeup and putting on makeup all the time, and I don't, kind of denies that he ever
Mhm.
commented on it. And then Cody, this is my favorite. He goes, "I'm sorry that Christine and David have to make their lives about me and Robyn." And I'm thinking to
Yeah.
myself, no, no, Cody, you know what? You did not get a shot or a scene of the two of them in their home. You've got cameras up for a TV show in which you all talk about each other.
Mhm.
They are making content, they are entertaining us. They care.
Right.
People don't want to watch you stare at a fire, Cody.
Yeah.
Stare at a
Well,
fire and lament about how you're a victim.
and obviously before he saw that video last week or whenever it was, he was
Hmm.
gushing over David, how he
Yeah.
wanted to go on a man's trip with him.
Yeah. But now it's just making his whole life about him. It's like,
Well,
oh
I
my
mean, yeah,
God.
it's just whatever's in front of Cody at the time, that's how he feels, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
And then so then Janelle goes into this whole thing about, like, Janelle does corroborate what Christine's saying, that he focused on being cleaned up, put together, which I don't think is that bad. I think, you know, growing up, what was mom's line about our clothing? It had to be clean and mended, clean and mended.
mhm.
It didn't matter what you wore, but it had to be clean and mended. Like, I think there's a certain through line with all people that, you try to be clean
Yeah,
and
but
together. But I mean, but that's it sounds like he wanted them to look good maybe in every aspect or in every way, or maybe primp themselves up for before he comes over. I don't
right,
know.
well, you notice, yeah, Robin's hair was always done. It was always
Mhm.
curled. You know, there were a lot of times you'd see Christine in a ponytail, and Janelle's hair kind of looked a little wild sometimes. Um, but yeah, Robin's hair and makeup was always done.
Mhm.
Always. And I mean, yeah, I think there is something to that. And obviously the wives noticed it, but Robin denies it. She says
Mhm.
that, it's not true. She pitched in during the camping trip. She pitched in too, um, and they're just trying to poke at her.
Mhm. And then Robin goes in and says, "This isn't a big deal. They're just bringing things up." Yes, Robin. Yes, this is what the show is.
It's the
This
point of
is
the
what this
show.
job. You cannot continue. I mean, this is again another problem. I know I've been bitching about Robin this whole time, this last 4 episodes, but it really bugs me how she doesn't seem to understand w- what her job is
Right.
in any of this. But
She
these
should
other
quit
women do.
then if she doesn't like it.
Well, and very typical. Who's doing all the labor? Who's doing all the work? Christine and Janelle are the ones giving us all the tea, giving
Yeah.
us information, telling us stuff. If it wasn't for those two, I mean, Mary's given us a little bit, but if it wasn't for those two, the show would be unwatchable. Ugh, anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
And then 'cause there's c- excuse me. Christina said this many times that, she did not feel respected as a wife or a mother or a sister wife or as a person or as a woman for that
yeah,
matter.
she had a laundry list of all the ways in which she did not feel respected.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Cody's reaction to this was that he said, well, he doesn't see a point of a relationship with Christine. Robin tells me that we'll be connected forever because we have kids, and he says, well, God help us. I mean,
Yeah.
again, just last week you were talking about maybe you'd go on a double date with David and Christine. I mean, he has no he you know what? This guy, he's like Trump. He believes in nothing. He has no convictions. He
No.
just whatever's in front of him at the moment
Hmm.
that he feels is attacking him,
Yes.
he will just attack back. Or he feels, yeah, vulnerable about I mean, just
Well, and then he'll make a comment that basically he speaks to it because he said, right, Christine says, when I kicked Cody out of my bed and basically out of her bed, out of her bedroom, I
mhm.
started to respect myself. And we all know that the minute she did that and she said, "You got to go sleep on the couch," Cody was all fuming and he had to take
Mhm.
his box of books home or whatever it was that
Mhm.
was in her garage or whatever because he was, and he says, but when those kinds of things happen, I will get defensive and mean. but it wouldn't have started out that way. Basically, what he's saying is they started it. So his whole
Mhm.
defense of all of this, of why he's so angry and why he's making these comments, is Christine started it. Christine started it because she kicked me out of my bed.
Yeah. But never mind, she kicked you out of her bed because you'd been disrespecting her as a person,
Yeah.
as a human being.
Hold on. I don't know how we're going to edit this together, but I got to lock Biscuit in. He's hold on one second. I got to stop. All right. So this is actually, I didn't realize that this section happened so early in in the episode. I was so traumatized by it. But we have to go back to the story of how Kody and Robyn met. And then we had
Mhm.
to rewatch the scene from Josephine's.
Mhm.
And oh God, it was a lot. It was just having to listen to Kody lament and go on and on about her. It was a lot.
Yeah. So they claim that they didn't really meet. They saw each other at church and they locked eyes.
They held each other's gaze.
Yes. And
And Cody thought, I was holding her gaze and I thought to myself, oh, she broke away. And then I thought, oh, that's probably a little inappropriate for me because she's probably married.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, interesting. But aren't you married too? That your first thought is she's
Right.
married.
Right.
And
And
you're doing
and it's
something inappropriate if you are married.
right. They're both at a polygamous church. So yeah, they would both probably be married. He was married, she wasn't. But anyway, yeah, total whatever, Cody. He doesn't have the ability to really think like 10 steps ahead,
No.
think things through. But
Well, and then they go over to Mary and they ask Mary, they said, and Mary kind of rolls her eyes and she's like, no, that's not the story. I don't know why everyone thinks that I'm the one that introduced Kody to Robyn. It's like, because you told us on the show.
mhm.
Because that was the story I mean, we all just didn't make this up.
Yeah, they wrote it in the book. They wrote about how they went to a dance and um Mary met Robin at this dance, but she'd maybe met her once before at Reba's house or something. And then she said at the dance, it was the last dance, and uh she told Cody, "Oh, you should ask her to dance."
Oh no, well, Christine left early. Poor Christine.
Yeah.
And yeah, and apparently Mary urged Cody to go ask Robin to dance. Now, do we believe that? Do you really think that at that moment in time, at that point in their marriage, she's going to be nudging him to go?
No, and I think Cody said this because Cody was giddy when he was recounting this. He said, Mary said, you should look into her. She's cute. I don't think
Hmm.
Mary would have
No,
said that.
no.
And yeah, Mary says that they met her at a neighbor's house and that she felt a friend connection with Robin. And
Mary
so
felt a friend
Mary
connection.
felt a friend
Okay.
connection.
Ooh, Cody
And
just like got right up in there and blocked her.
yeah, no, he did. He's like, no, 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 no.
She is for me.
She's mine. As God is my wingman, that woman is mine.
Oh my
Um,
god. This
all
was
of
the
these.
this was the best. He starts to tear up and he goes, "There was nobody on the dance floor but us." Oh my
Uh, I mean,
god.
he's verklempt. He's verklempt. He recounting all of this.
Yes.
I mean, he's just
The
yeah,
safety, the
and then
safety. I had no idea Cody felt so unsafe before
I
he met Robin.
know.
The safety and depth of connection. Ay, ay, ay. And then poor Christine's like, oh, well, when I first saw Cody, I felt a bolt of lightning. Like,
Yes.
I felt that way about, like, she thought that too. I felt like we had a great connection.
And did she well, of course, Cody denies it.
Yeah, he
He
didn't
says
feel
he
that with
never
anybody
had that
else.
connection before. It was more of a pragmatic process, AKA, it
Mm-hmm.
would help his position in the church. But why did Christine think that? Did Cody lie to her and tell her, "Oh yeah, I have a lightning bolt too." I mean,
Well, I think Christine, I mean, again, I think there's something very naive about Christine, right? She doesn't
yeah.
have a lot of dating experience. And so she sees him. I think she, it's always, we've always known that she was more attracted to him than he was attracted to her. And so she saw him and she felt this, she felt all these feelings and it was great. And I'm sure Kody was like, yeah, yeah, I'm into this too. I'm into this too. But
Mhm.
obviously Christine did not get or understand that this guy is giving you a bunch of red flags. I mean,
Mhm.
he's, again, that's why you need to date and experience things. You need to go out there and figure out like, oh, this is what this really means. Or when people pull away, it's,
There's no time for that in polygamy.
yeah,
You
I
gotta
know. And
get
that's
married and
part of the
start having
problem.
babies and collecting wives, and there's no time for self-exploration.
But Mary does say that she loved to listen to him talk and that he would wink at her.
Mm.
And he made her feel like she was special, that I mattered. And
Yeah,
I
and
think he's very good at that.
she said that he liked 18-year-old Mary, and that's really kinda sad,
Yeah.
that this
His
man was not capable of growing with her.
Yeah, no, he wants, I mean, and maybe
He
this is the
wants the next
safety
best
he's talking.
shiny thing, whatever that is.
Well, also 18-year-old Mary isn't going to push back.
Mm-mm.
When you're that
Yeah.
young, what are you going to do? Um so Janelle goes into how Robin and Cody had a very long courtship. And then she said, if I had a year with Cody, I might not have married him.
Mhm. I'm sure she wouldn't.
And I bet you anything, I wonder if any of those women would have, if they really had a full year with him. I think Christine would have.
I think Christine would.
But I could see Janelle being like, oh, forget
Janelle,
this.
no. Mary probably would have stuck it out because she felt special because she was the
Hmm.
first, but Janelle, no.
Yeah, that he's really what did she say? Gotten off like, yeah, she finally got off the charm ride. So I guess he must have been very charming. Very,
Yeah.
this is exactly what Mary says. He's a charmer.
Yeah,
He is a
she said I
charmer.
would have seen him for what he was, would have gotten through the charm, the big charm energy,
Hmm.
the charisma. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, yeah, we hear from Christine. It was a love story from the beginning. We all knew it. They denied it. And it was just another level of betrayal and lying. And yes, this is the other part of it too, which is,
Mhm.
you're telling us this new story again. We now know that you're lying. You're not, there's no accountability or no like, hey, we're sorry, or, this thing or that thing. And obviously, and Cody is mad at Christine for being mad at him. And it's like, but you lied to her for years. She
Right.
feels betrayed.
Right.
But like, that is betrayal. Because I bet you, I do wonder if Christine ever approached him and said, what's going on with you and Robin? I mean, she's
Mhm.
been clocking this relationship from moment one, much more
Right.
than the other women. So you don't think at some point she ever turned to him and said, what's going on? I mean,
Right.
and he denied it. I bet you she did that a bunch of times. I bet you she asked him a bunch of times, where were you? I bet you anything he lied. And she would
Mhm.
find out later he was really at Robin's. He's like, no, I'm
Right.
at the grocery store.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm sure she did confront him, and he did lie to her.
Hmm. And then Cody's like,
Um.
I fell in love hard. No, I had no intention. It's BS that Robin and I just wanted to be together. That's internet BS. That it was just the two of us. And I believe that you I believe that you didn't want to break up the family. Like, I'm with them and all this, but
Mhm.
I see why you didn't do it. I understand that. And I see how, if you've been with these other women for 20 years, this new person comes in, you're like, oh my God, this feels very, very different than everything else. All of those things. It's like, I can understand it. But but you keep denying it to us. Like,
Well, yeah, and
stop.
he
Like,
just he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He says, This is internet BS." Wait a minute, you just said that polygamy doesn't work if you fall in love, and
mhm.
he fell in love hard.
Mhm.
Hard.
Very
Okay?
hard, yes.
Very hard. So that you just said two completely contradictory things, Cody. So which is it?
Yeah.
Because if this is internet BS, then you wouldn't be saying, you're basically saying that polygamy didn't work because you fell in love, which meant that you didn't really love those other women the way you loved Robyn,
And that
if at all.
and that the show that we have been watching, where you proclaim your love
Right.
for all four of the women and you keep
Mhm.
insisting how everything's equal and the same, can you not see how maybe
Mhm.
today people might be a little bit like, what's going on
What the
here?
hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've been being lied to, like, hard.
Yes.
Okay? And
Betrayed. We have been
we are
betrayed.
betrayed. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling very just at the end of my rope right now. So I'm gonna say something I'll probably regret. I won't really mean it. I feel like I'm done with this show.
Ooh, Brooke.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh. This is a big
Strong
one.
words.
But you know what,
Well,
Brooke?
I'm done with it for now, okay?
Okay,
I
guess
can't
what?
take another minute
I'm going to
until
say
next
something to
season.
you. I'm going to say something to you. Guess what? This is Kody Brown's show. You can right now be like, I love this show. This is a great show. Right? You can change, Brooke. You don't have to be accountable to anything that you say or do. You don't.
That's
So it
true.
doesn't really matter.
I can just in a couple months be like, I love this show,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I probably will.
Not even a couple months, by the end of this podcast, you can be back. And that would align with
Okay.
everything. So I'm all for it.
Mm.
And then was this all the scenes about how Kody and Robyn now are monogamous and
Oh yeah.
oh god, that's right. No. That's right. They were doing all the scenes from the monogamy. Okay. The one new fact that we found out about was how Kody felt so safe with Robyn that he told Robyn about his college sexual experience.
Mm.
And he had
Because
never
she told him that she had had some sort of experience,
was
and
it.
so he felt safe then to confess his experience.
Yeah, guess what? She was married. She has 3 kids.
No,
She's not
but
a virgin.
she had sex before marriage,
Okay,
right?
this is my question. Do you think they were all is this all sex or do you think it was like everything but?
No, I think it's full blown
It's full
sex.
blown sex. Okay.
Yeah, I think, but Robin had sex before marriage. She got pregnant with Dayton. She got married. So I think she
Oh,
was
that's right.
probably talking to Cody about that experience
Mhm.
and, whatever shame she had about it. And he felt safe enough that he could say, yeah, well, I had sex before marriage too,
Mhm. And
which that's not surprising, like, because I don't know. He was not fundamentalist growing up. He was just regular LDS, and then he went
yeah.
away on a mission where you're kind of unsupervised. I don't know. Maybe they are supervised. So I don't think that's a crazy thing, but I think it was just an excuse for them to
Yeah.
bond with each other.
But Janelle's like, "What is the big deal?" Like Janelle's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, we've all have."
She laughs. Yeah, she laughs at his sexual experience story. Um, and
But
says
again, that wouldn't surprise me, right? Cuz Janelle also wasn't raised in this.
no, and
Yeah.
Janelle, I'm sure, had sex before marriage.
Yeah. And she
No,
had been married
well,
before,
she was
so.
raised LDS, but her mother, I believe, had converted at some point when Janelle was a child. I don't think Janelle was that deep into it.
Wait a minute, her
Um,
mom converted to LDS or
to
to this? Oh,
LDS.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I don't think she was born, LDS. I think her mom
Okay.
converted to LDS, then met Win and had to become full blown
Yeah,
polygamist
got it.
because
Yeah.
Win was just what so hot, so irresistible.
Much like Kody, Win is woo,
These they're ladies' men.
these
Ladies'
brown men are just, what can you say? Um, well, Janelle, I
men.
mean, and Janelle's just laughing about all this. She's like, "Ugh, he just has to justify all of the reasons why he loves Robyn. Robyn's safe. And, she's just like,
Yeah.
if he had told me about this, I would have been fine with it. I wouldn't have. I feel you, Janelle, because basically what Kody can, why him continuing to call Robyn, well, Robyn's safe, Robyn's safe, Robyn's safe, you are implying that all these other women
Mhm.
are unsafe,
Mhm.
meaning, and what does that mean to you to be safe? It means that someone's going to listen to you and be respectful and okay, yeah,
Validate your feelings. Yeah.
validate your feelings. Yeah, Janelle would do that. Christine would do that.
Yeah.
Mary would do that. Like, what are you talking about?
It's just a made up. It's just a word. Cody just learned that word safe from Nancy or whoever, and he just
Mhm.
loves to use it.
Yeah. So, but poor Christine. Here's Christine back. Like, I had no idea that about that experience. I thought we were friends. I thought I don't know what I did to make him think that I was unsafe. And then she drops this little nugget. She's like, it actually makes me wonder how close, meaning Robyn and Cody, actually were before they got married. Dun
Mhm.
dun dun. And that's always been a giant question mark because I mean,
It'd been
really,
a year.
it had been a year. They were deeply, madly in love,
Mhm.
and you both are married people with children. Like it's you're not 17-year-olds.
Mhm.
I in any other situation they would be having sex, but
Well, did they show so they cuz she said look at the pictures and they flashed some pictures, the engagement pictures
mhm,
like where Robin's like on Cody's back and then when she's but I thought I saw in a promo where they flashed there's a picture the picture of them up against the white Lexus.
mhm,
You know, so they have an engagement photo or maybe it would happen after they were married. I don't know. Of they're smashed up against each other, face to face, up against the Lexus, like in an
mhm,
embrace with, their bodies full on pressed against each other. And I don't know if that was taken before or after they got married, but that was the picture that flashed in the promo, but I didn't see it last night
mm,
because she said you saw the photos.
mhm,
You saw the engagement photos. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is where he says that Robin laid him down in a rose garden of trust. Robin's intuition, um, I don't know. He's just
Yeah.
Robin's
She's
just
just
Robin.
and I guess he had told Mary about this experience. And then Sukani goes on this whole thing about like, well, why would you tell Mary and not the other two women? And it's like, I can see how all that came about, because I don't think it's because he felt so safe with Mary, or maybe he says he did. You know,
Yeah, they were
it's
the
like,
first serious each other's first serious
yeah.
relationship. Yeah.
So why wouldn't of course he told her. Um
Well, and
but
then
yeah.
okay, now this I'm not sure who started this, if it was Cody or Suki. Cody had to let us all know that basically he had options because he was a high
Yes.
school
Oh,
athlete.
oh God, yes, yes.
And then Suki says, "Oh, baseball?" and, and he's like, "No."
Mhm.
And then I'm like, "Suki, she's playing dumb. She's trying to get him to like, to
Yeah.
say it." So then she says, "Football?" And he says, "Yes." And then he says, "And I was a wrestler."
Yes.
And then he said he was Mormon naughty,
Yes, yes, Mormon
which I
naughty.
guess is no intercourse, but does that include the soaking?
I don't see, that's why I was wondering if he had sex. Is Mormon naughty? Is that just everything but hold on. But
I don't
before
know.
this, he does talk about he had another one of my favorite lines, which is love dies from a million paper cuts,
Mhm.
whatever that means. But he does acknowledge in this about how he and Mary had a good start, that he did love her. They were lovers.
Mm.
And then finally he says, I love them all. But when a woman is trashing you on TV, I was in the throes of reactionary vitriol for those 3 years. I,
Ugh, throws.
I love for 3 entire years I was in the throes of vitriol, and it's unbelievable. The other funny thing too is this is just a TLC show, right? Like you're acting like you're this is Kim Kardashian and Kanye, and this is all playing out on the Twitter, right? That you're everybody knows who the two of you are, and that that you're being trashed everywhere. It's like, no, a small subgroup of people. And Christine posts a photo with some nachos, and you're gonna
Mhm.
and with David, and you're gonna get this is the vitriol. Like this is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. Give me a break.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. And then that's when she gets in. Oh, and then Mary does say it's nice that he remembered that I once had his back. Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, this is when they get into the high school athlete stuff. Um, and then Christine says again, she suspects that Robyn and Cody had sex before they were
Yeah,
married. We bring this up again.
she said some kind of sexual experience because uh she talks about how he was super comfortable in her house. He
Hmm.
freely walked into her bedroom, which in the
Yes.
polygamous religion was a no-no. You don't
Yeah.
you don't just walk in and out of a wife's, you don't go into another wife's bedroom, you don't walk in and out of wives' bedrooms in front of other wives, that kind of thing. Um, yeah,
Yes.
and she says they lied about everything.
Yeah.
The fact that he was always over there, all he did was lie.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. 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 And that's why she's pissed, Cody. She's not stuck on you. She's not,
No.
she and David aren't sitting around thinking about you or talking about you. But when she talks about your relationship on this show, in which you are supposed to talk about your relationship, in which you get paid to,
Mhm.
she is going to tell you and tell the world, I was lied to. And he
Mhm.
doesn't like that. He doesn't like that.
No.
So,
And Robin claims that Cody didn't kiss her until he asked her to marry him, and then it was just a stamp.
yeah, it was
His
chaste kissing.
his face smashed hers, and it was not a sexy kiss. And they were sitting in the sports car because he can't live without them. And I
Mhm.
said yes, and he kissed me, and bam. What?
No. She's
But there
trying
was
to
they
again,
butted heads. What like they what?
this bolt of lightning, you've now just gotten engaged, and the kiss is mwah! It's a kiss of a kid, like you
Yeah.
come ramming at each other.
But then she changes the story completely with that. Well, there was some chaste church kissing,
Mhm.
and she's just laughing. This is the most animated we've ever seen Robin
Yeah.
talking about this.
Mhm. What was this next section where there's something she brought up. Sukanya brings up something about, again, sex and Cody, and then Cody says something about like getting defensive about Sukanya wanting to talk about sex, and then he says something like it's like I give an inch, and I didn't think that was cool. Do you think was she trying to bring something up, like implying about some of the things that people like, implying that maybe Cody's gay? There's always been that, right? That
Yeah,
like,
because he used the word sexuality. I'm not talking about my sexuality. I'm drawing the line.
so what was she going to ask him about sexual? Was she going back to that sexual experiences in college? Like, was she trying to figure out, like, yeah, did you have any sexual experiences with men? You
Yeah,
know,
maybe
did
she
you
was asking.
experiment there?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
she was asking. I maybe,
but
and
this
it
is,
just wasn't edited well or something.
yeah, but he was, and I kept trying to figure, like, what is he talking about? Like, is this now? This is the thing. This is the thing that gets you ruffled, right? People might think you're
Mhm.
gay. I mean, come on, nobody thinks that.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah, then I don't know. I just felt like Cody and Robin through this whole thing were playing good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
It was exhausting, quite frankly.
Well, it's interesting too. Robin says, I will never, because talking about like what happens if you bring someone else in, blah, blah, blah. Do you guys want to be a polygamous couple again? And
Mhm.
Robin says, I will never leave Cody. This is not the life that she wanted. And then this is her, she then says, that life was taken from me.
Mhm.
Very interesting. That life was taken from me. So, okay. So you still don't see, she again sees no, she is not part of any reason why this didn't work at
Right,
all.
no responsibility, and
Yeah.
yeah, and she says, yeah, she would do it again if she had a guarantee, and Cody says, "Hell no, he would do it." So it's like, come on, you guys. That's why I felt it was just an act, a good
Mhm.
cop, bad cop, basically, because Cody is saying, "Hell no," whatever, and Robin is trying to, pretend that she would still do it if she had a guarantee, as if anything like that even exists,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
and then Cody goes into this whole thing about if he and Robin ever broke up, we just wouldn't talk bad about each other because we love each other. Again,
Mm.
Christine is speaking poorly of you because she is hurt.
Mhm.
the opposite of hate, the opposite of love isn't, it's not hate, it's indifference.
Mhm.
So if she was indifferent like Janelle, I mean,
Mhm.
if she was indifferent, that would be different. But she obviously, this
She's
meant
hurt.
something to
Yeah,
her.
she was madly, madly in love with
Yeah.
him, and
Yeah.
he lied to her and treated her like shit, and she's hurt. And not that she wants to be with him or anything.
No.
She's
She's
very
thrilled.
happy. But yeah, when somebody, especially the father of your children,
Mhm.
hurts you like that, like you don't really ever get over that. I think over time, but Christine hasn't. What did this happen? 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Not that long
Kicking
ago.
kicking him out, and a lot of stuff has come out since then.
Right.
And
So
the
you're
other
being
part,
re-traumatized.
yes,
Yeah.
the other part of this too is, don't forget, she's now been with David. She now knows, "Oh my
Mhm.
god, I could be treated like this. I could get
Right.
the luggage rack. I
Right.
could, I could feel like this person loves me and cares about me and supports me and encourages me to start a business and doesn't lie to me about money and where he's going and what he's doing. Oh my gosh." And I think that's the other part of it too, is I think she didn't have anything to compare it to. It wasn't like she had other relationships to compare it to. Like, it wasn't until it was like, "Oh, whoa, there is a difference."
Mhm.
You don't know that you're not getting anything until you actually start getting things. Then you
Right.
realize, like, "Oh, I've been starving."
Yeah, and she was very naive and isolated to begin with, and she
Yeah.
didn't really know a lot about relationships outside of the polygamist world.
Yeah. Well, and then
Yeah.
I don't know why we had to talk about that therapy session in Sedona,
Yeah,
where they
why
had to
are we
do
going
that
back? Why are we
that
going backwards?
sculpting, that family sculpting
Yeah.
exercise, and then she's asking Christine, will you happier then or happier now? It's like,
What a
please.
question.
That's the stupidest question. I mean, come on. Come on.
I
Everybody knows,
know.
we can see it from 100 miles away that she's way happier now. Um and yeah, she's like, because for Christine, she's like, that was that moment, that scene, that exercise was the moment where I realized I didn't matter.
Mhm.
Like, I did not matter of any of this.
Well, and Cody was so dismissive of all of them. He said, I don't want to be in the middle. I don't want to be the sole focus because it's just, I guess, too much pressure for him. Because maybe this is my observation I wrote down. Mary, Christine, and Janelle were team players,
Yeah,
and they
Christine
did
said this.
okay,
Yeah,
but they didn't get their needs met. Robin asks for what she wants, and she's
demanded it.
not a team player. Um,
But I
I don't know.
I felt like Christine was, because Christine's always been very fair. I feel like she was almost complimenting Robin in a way. Like, we
Yeah.
all, because they had this natural kind of concept or idea, like,
Mhm.
we all work together, nobody asks for anything, we'll all get our needs met, we'll trust. You know what it was? Before, there was a lot of trust. They all trusted that they would get their needs met, that where the money goes, all of that. And when Robin entered the picture,
Mhm.
and this big love happened, and she had a totally different way of approaching him. She went right up to him and demanded it. And I'm not saying that's bad. I think that's a good quality, but it did ruin the fabric. It did kind of throw what's, was a
Yeah.
problem.
No, and Robin came in, I have to hand it to her, at a pretty young age, really knowing her worth and really like, yeah, asking for what she
Hmm.
wanted, demanded what she wanted. And she says, men will fight with a woman like she's a man if she's fighting like a man. I'm going to talk like a woman.
And fight like a woman. Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to
So
think of this
I
one.
didn't really know about that, but I sort of understand that basically she knew how to get what she wanted.
Hmm.
She knew how, instead of, because, so like Janelle and Christine and Mary, they all are like alpha females, really.
Hmm.
They are. I think she just had a softer touch that just
Hmm.
sucked Cody in. I don't think Cody liked it when Christine and Janelle and Mary would, I guess, fight like a man, whatever that
Hmm.
means. But it's just sort of a style of whatever, and Cody just, whatever style Robin had, it just worked on him.
Yeah. Well, I think that she was very intentional with it. She was
Mhm.
very intentional with it. And again, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just that you know, she very much wanted to get her needs met,
Mhm.
and she figured out pretty I think pretty early, and they were all swept off their feet by each other, but I think she figured out pretty early like, "Oh, I need to stroke his ego a little bit, or I need to be
Mhm.
softer, or I need to wait till this time to talk to him, or
Mhm.
I need to do it this way." And she was putting her time and energy into the relationship with Cody, and unfortunately the other three women just couldn't do that, and
Mhm.
didn't want to, didn't realize they had to, you know what I mean? They were just like living.
Yeah.
And yeah, so but all these questions like about how are you happy now, and yeah, everybody's much happier. Like
Yeah,
Cody's like, yeah, I'm
duh.
happy with my life with Robin without my ex-wives. I think he made
Mhm.
some sort of dig about, he's not happy about being slammed all the time, but she asks, would you do it over again? No. No, they don't want to do it over again. Plural, Mary thinks plural marriage works. She's the only one that does.
But she said she would not do it again.
Yeah. But Cody's like, I will never try plural marriage again because we failed. And this is where Robin talks about this guarantee.
Yeah. She's
Janelle's
scared to
open.
death of it.
Yeah. Janelle's open for whatever situation comes around.
Yeah, she just doesn't
Um,
wanna go on the apps. She's afraid of the
yes.
apps.
Yes, yes. Well, Christine and David, I guess, are trying to find somebody for Janelle. They're determined.
Well, and she
Um,
says she does not want someone who's high maintenance. She does not want someone who's a prima donna, and she
mhm.
says, "Take that how you want."
I don't want anyone who's obsessed with their hair
Or their car.
or their cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this goes into this whole thing about like, would you all come together and maybe not, or blah 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 blah. Blah. It's like, ah,
Well, I love that, Janelle is reclaiming her time here. She's like, sex is important to her.
mhm.
She is not asexual. She is a sexy earth mama.
Yes, she
She's
is.
a
She's a Taurus.
Taurus. Yes, she likes food, wine, sex, all of it.
Yeah, she's down. She is really down.
She is down. Um, yeah,
So,
yeah, they talk about farmers only and anyway, Cody does say that he's glad that he has all these children,
mhm.
even though he says
He's mad at the
he's
wives, the
mad.
ex-wives.
Yeah. And he talks about how, it was a lot of wasted time and it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, well, was the wasted time, I mean, that was kinda interesting. I'm like, "Are you talking about the wasted time? Like, maybe it should have been, a couple years into the marriage with Robin? That wasted like, should you have woken up and said something? Is that the wasted time that you're talking about? Are you talking I mean,
Kind of seems to me like he's talking about the whole thing, but then that would mean that he wouldn't have all these kids that he has.
yeah.
I mean, that's a tricky one. That's a really tricky question. And I don't think people should ask that question because what is every divorced person supposed to say? You're expected to say, "Oh, well, yeah, I do it again because, or else I wouldn't have had these children." And yeah, that's it. But you really do feel sometimes like I wish I wouldn't have chosen this person or I wish
Mhm.
things would have been different. And in no way negates how you feel about your kids, but that's kind of tricky. It's sort of asking people to sort of a Hobbesian choice, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's uh, you know, because when last Thanksgiving when mom turned to me and said, I don't know why my parents didn't convince me to not marry your father. Like,
Yeah.
stop me from
See
marrying your father.
see
It
what
was
I
like,
mean? Yeah,
huh,
that's
okay.
two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
wish you never married that person, and you can also be glad that you married that person and had the children that you had or whatever.
Yeah. It's so tricky because I was talking to someone about this the other day, actually, about this idea of, right, y- everybody would love a chance to go back to when they were 20 again, and then tell that boss, like, say all the things
Mhm.
that you want to say, or stop dating that guy on date 3 because that
Mhm.
was the red flag you should have paid attention to, instead of like in the situationship for a year plus or whatever it is. Like, everybody wants those moments because you want this wisdom that you have now to go
Right.
back there, but that's part of the process. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
part of the process of life in many
Yeah.
ways, which is that, yeah, when you're young, you choose a lot of things that aren't quite right for you because you don't know who you are. And in some ways, that old saying is true, that like up until 40, it is a lot of practice. It's a lot of figuring out who you are and what you want.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, at the same time, those are your childbearing years, and those are the years
Mhm.
where, you need to make money and do certain things. And that's one of the hardest parts about life, is that we really, yeah, we should all be able to just at 40 be like, okay, great, let's start.
Mhm.
Now I know who I am.
Mhm.
But it doesn't work like
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't work like that.
It
So
really doesn't. So,
that's well, I guess we'll end on that. That
yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
go back, and just
But,
be grateful for what you had and move
yes.
forward.
And be honest.
Yes,
Once,
be honest
once
with
you realize
people.
something, once you have an awareness of something, once you've made a decision, like, tell people how you really feel. It's better to tell people how you feel and hurt their feelings and make
Mhm.
them be mad at you or whatever it is, but to set them free. I have this all the time when I have clients who, they're having an affair, and I'm like, you are not doing your partner any good by not telling
Mhm.
them and not getting out of this. Like,
Mhm.
you are not. You feel guilty. You don't want to be the bad guy. You don't want to be the one to say I want out of this marriage. But guess what? You're already hurting them, because even if they never find out about the affair, you are emotionally you're pulling you've split your emotions and feelings to someone else.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
does affect people, whether they're
Yeah.
aware of it or not. So
Yeah.
do the right thing.
It's really hard. I know
Yeah.
it's hard, but yeah, don't lie. Don't lie. That's
Yeah.
the moral of this season.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
know.
but yeah, you have the right to fall in love, and you have the right to like decide something isn't going to work for you. All of those things, just be honest. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to shame people for those kinds of things, but it's just
Yeah.
more about be truthful. That's what
Yeah.
people want. Or you could end up you'd be like Christine, who's pissed 30 years, 20, 30 years later, pissed.
Yeah.
Anyway. All
That's all
right.
right. Well, we
Well,
did it. We did
we
it.
did it.
We did it.
We
It's
finished another season of Sister
We
Wives.
did. I have no idea when it's coming back.
Yes.
But we're gonna take a little Sister Wives break and
Yeah.
get into some other things. So, if you came here for the Sister Wives, check out the other stuff that we have to offer.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We're still going to cover, and just like that, we're going to finish season 3. We're still doing on Thursdays. We still have various documentaries that we're doing. We have a very special episode coming up this Thursday with some
Yeah.
very
Should we
special
should we
guests.
tell them?
Yeah, Brooke, tell everybody.
So on Thursday's episode, we talk with Jake and Matt, reality gays,
Yes,
from
very
the
exciting.
Reality Gaze podcast, who we've been following for a long time. We've been there since the beginning, since they started their podcast. And so we talked about Sister Wives
Yes, yeah.
a little bit, and then we talked about the secret lives of Mormon wives, which had a lot of the same kind of themes. I mean,
Mhm.
this is kind of the modern day Sister Wives, but
Yeah.
they're not polygamous. But we had a really good discussion about all of it. Jake is very into um, Mormonism. He knows
Yes.
so much about it.
He does.
And
Well, and they also grew up in these very different than us. They both grew up in, where religion and going to
yeah,
church and all that was much more a part of their lives, and so they recognize some of that. But we had a great discussion about misogyny
yeah,
and the religion and Mormonism and lots of big things. So even if you don't follow any of these shows, well, you're here with Sister Wives, but like
yeah,
even if you're not a big Mormon Wives, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, it's a really good, interesting conversation, I thought.
yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
were great. So that's coming up on Thursday. So you can check that out. And we've got like some interesting stuff coming up.
Hmm.
We have some interesting guests. We're going to be talking about the Karen Reed trial with an expert, a
Hmm.
doctor who teaches, a doctor of neuroscience,
Hmm.
who teaches at college, and we've just got, we got interesting things coming up. So if you're
Yeah.
into true crime, we're always covering that. So stick around.
Yeah. And if you want more content from us, please go check out our Patreon, where you get all these shows ad free, plus a weekly bonus, and then other extras for our higher tier. Follow us on social media. We're on YouTube. Hello, everybody.
Hello, YouTube.
We've entered the YouTube game, this little thing called YouTube. And yes, subscribe to the show, leave a review. All of those things really help us and help support the show and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's it.
Signing
Thanks,
off.
everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.